Look, guys, yesterday I played a clip of one of the interviews of Season for Walsh. He was interviewing Mr. Chikane. Mr. Chikane was sharing his thoughts of what he thinks about the MK party. Guys, it is opinion. That's what he thinks. He's not saying that's the reality of what is going to happen. It's his opinion. Everybody have their own opinion. That's why there's political analysts that agree the MK party is a wonderful party. Some don't agree. And you can't hate people because they have different opinions than you. You can only intellectually counter their attack on you and prove they are wrong. But today I have a clip of him calling out the EFF and trying to call the EFF to change the politics that they currently possess, they currently portray. But I want you guys to hear it from himself. Take a listen.
So there's always been the narrative of the EFF that they've got like this weird problem with their voter base. And like once they turn like 27, 28, they stop voting for the EFF. Right? I like joking that like they stop paying taxes, and it's like, nah, I can't, I can't do this, right? But there's the EFF needs to figure that out about how to make our voter base not just young. How do we get young professionals in urban areas to vote for us so that you're not the third consideration for local politics? Ekurhuleni's may be an exception, but how do you become more competitive in urban politics and then use the same playbook that the DA uses, right? Just give people services where you can and where you're able, and then fly your flag over those services. Yeah. So the EFF has this challenge of they need to grow their voter base, they need to diversify their voter base, right? And that's why the stagnation is taking place. All their growth potential was swallowed up by MK as well, which is an interesting argument. I buy it, but I also don't buy it at the same time. But for the EFF, all of that being said, I think they could do well. I think, again, it's another like coming to like a Damascus moment they need to have with themselves. When's their conference? December?
Yeah.
When's it happening? They're going to need to have a Damascus moment as a party about what they want to be over the next 5 years. Because now you've got your foundation. You're not like Cope. Right? You're not like a Cope. You're not like a Nahang. You're not like a UDM. You've got a firm base that you'll always be like, you're now amongst the IFPs and the FF pluses of the world. You will always get votes of 4 to 8%, depending on like how the electorate is feeling during the election. The question is, how do you take advantage of an ANC that's now bound to the DA?
Yeah.
Right? How do you make inroads by riding on the code waves, and this is a choice for them, of MK, but where MK can't actually govern because MK is not a party in its formal sense and has very little experience in that regard, right? How do you leverage that moment and plant your flag where the successes are? And can you turn into this mature opposition party and be what's the phrase? Not de facto. What's the other term?
De jure?
De jure. Is it de jure? Yeah, de jure opposition party. Right? I might have gotten them backwards.
Yeah,
but yeah.
De facto. Right.
The de facto, yeah, because the de jure opposition party is MKP, and the de facto one can be EFF.
Sure.
And if you can play that role well, you then create out of nowhere an alternative in 2029. Right? Where the electorate might be like, well, that GNU was crazy. That was a wild 5 years. We did not like this at all. And MK will do MK things. But if you can showcase that you are a legitimate third option from that GNU, because all of them will die by the sword together, if possibly, I think they could do well. But it depends about like who Malema surrounds himself with, who he elevates to his level. Does he find a replacement for Floyd, or does he stick to his word and everything comes to his office? Does it become his fiefdom? If it becomes his fiefdom, I've got so many bad things to say about parties. If it becomes his fiefdom, he will then become General Holomisa for the rest of his life. right? Because that's what happened with UDM. It became a person's fiefdom, right? And then you don't grow from that ever again. But if you can showcase that there is really good leaders, I am the face of this party, and he rightfully should be the face of this party. But here are my 6 deputies who are national household names, who represent the will of the party without me having to be in the room. If they can focus on that, you then ensure that you are the official opposition for the next 5 years. The question is like, can the party do that? And the parties that are able to do that are the ones that do well. The DA does that. There's household names of the DA, right? The EFF, not so much, right? ANC, obviously household names. MK even has household names. But if the EFF can figure out a way of saying, how do we keep Malema in power without it becoming a fiefdom for him, his plaything, and then obviously provide services at a local level where you are able to govern, I think they're in like an interesting time period. I don't think they'll regress. I could live to regret this statement. I really hope I don't, because I really want the EFF, I want them, that magical number of 15% is my number for them, because it changes the electoral outlook of the country completely. DA 20, EFF 15, ANC 39 point whatever that they have, just creates for fascinating politics at that point. And also the last thing I'll say on it, EFF is the only party right now in my mind, could have been Rise. I think Rise could have done it, but it's the only party that can break that electoral map that we were talking about. It's the only party that can show that our country is not the West Bloc, the Central Bloc, the East Bloc. I think they're the only party that can do it at scale. I think Rise Mzansi, shame. It was tough for them. But I think they could do it as well. They just mustn't lose faith and hope. But yeah, EFF is in a good position to break that electoral image of what the country looks like and create your own bloc somewhere. Whether they do that or not, we'll find out. But all of this is like me being a political witch doctor and predicting the future, which I hate to do, but here we are.
Well, Dr. Chikane, all that's left is to thank you.
You just heard him, right? I agree. There is room for improvement in the EFF. There is room for growth in the EFF. But it's all up to the leaders. It's all up to the voters. It's all up to us as black people if we do wanna vote for this party based on how they present themselves, based on what they do to provide for the society, to provide for the municipalities. They only need to do the job so they can get votes from the society, from the people outside. Because after all, it's politics. Many people don't trust politicians. Many people don't trust the EFF. Let's be honest. Many people don't want to vote for the EFF. Many people left the EFF. Many people joined the EFF. Many people are going to leave the EFF. Many people are going to join the EFF. Like any other political party, people leave, people join. But the room for improvement is there. Is there. But I don't disagree with anything you say. I don't disagree. The politics need to mature. The EFF politics need to mature. And they need to start doing politics of proving the things they preach. They need to deliver to the people, whether in provincial or municipality level. They need to show it from there if the EFF is ready to govern South Africa. And if maybe they don't get into power, you know, they don't get into government and they run the country, they can still run the municipalities, they can still run the local governance. And that will show, that will give people proof of what the EFF is capable of doing. So they were given a chance in Tshwane, Ekurhuleni, they continue given a chance in Johannesburg, metropolitans. So they have chances to prove themselves as the EFF. And I agree, the EFF needs to prove itself to the people of South Africa because many don't trust it. But it is what it is. Thank you very much.